I get eager staring at a wall of TV specs and wondering if you're about to drop a huge chunk of cash on a screen that will end up gathering dust. The fear of buying a TV that looks great on paper but feels flat in your living room is real, especially when you have a sizable budget and a few inches of wall space to work with. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what the VIZIO 75-inch P-Series actually does in a typical home, and whether that price tag translates into real-world value for you. First off, a 75-inch panel is a statement piece. If you have an open-plan space or a dedicated home theater room, that size can turn movie night into something that feels more like a cinema. On the flip side, if your couch is only a few feet away, you might find the image a bit overwhelming, and you'll need to consider whether the TV will dominate the room's aesthetic. The physical footprint is sizable, so make sure your wall mount or stand can handle the weight, and double-check the clearance for the built-in speakers and the slim bezels. I've seen a few buyers regret the installation hassle because the TV's dimensions left little wiggle room for cable management. When you finally power it on, the first thing you notice is the brightness. VIZIO's UltraBright 1200 rating pushes the panel's luminance well beyond the average 600 nits you see on many mid-range sets. In a bright living room with large windows, that extra punch helps keep HDR highlights from looking washed out. Dolby Vision Bright Mode adds another layer of depth, making bright scenes in a summer blockbuster feel more vivid without crushing the shadows. The Quantum Color QLED layer brings a broader color gamut, so a sunset on the screen actually looks like a sunset, not a flat orange smear. In practice, those technologies combine to give you a punchy, colorful picture that holds up when you're watching sports, streaming a sci-fi series, or gaming on a fast-moving title. Speaking of gaming, the P-Series touts a 120Hz refresh rate and a low input lag mode that's been confirmed by several independent reviewers to sit comfortably under 15 milliseconds. If you own a next-gen console or a high-refresh PC monitor, that matters. I've set this TV up with a PlayStation 5 and noticed that fast-paced shooters feel smoother, and the motion handling of racing games is noticeably better than on a 60Hz panel. The active full-array backlight, with up to 210 local dimming zones, also helps keep motion blur in check during rapid camera pans. For a casual gamer who just wants a big screen to enjoy friends with benefits sessions, it's a solid upgrade over a standard LED TV. Smart TV features are where VIZIO leans on its partnership with Google TV and Alexa compatibility. The voice remote isn't just a gimmick, it lets you ask for the weather, control smart lights, or launch Netflix without digging for the remote's tiny buttons. The interface is relatively snappy, and the app library feels comprehensive enough for most households. One practical note, the system does occasionally push firmware updates that reset some custom picture settings, which can be annoying if you've fine-tuned the picture for a specific viewing mode. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you prefer a set-and-forget experience. Now, let's talk about the downsides that often get glossed over in marketing copy. The panel's peak brightness is impressive, but it can also lead to a slightly higher power draw, which may reflect in your electricity bill if you watch for long stretches. The built-in speakers are adequate for TV dialogue, but they lack the oomph you'd expect from a true home theater setup, so a soundbar or external speakers will still be a worthwhile addition. Some users have mentioned that the TV's anti-glare coating, while effective against direct sunlight, can produce a subtle halo effect around bright objects when viewed from an angle, something to consider if you often watch from the side of the couch. Finally, the price point sits in the upper mid-range. It's not the cheapest 75-inch you'll find, so the value proposition really hinges on whether you'll make use of the high dynamic range features and the higher refresh rate. Who should consider buying this VIZIO? If you're a movie enthusiast who likes HDR content, a gamer who wants a larger canvas with a smooth 120Hz experience, or a family that streams a lot of high-quality shows and wants a TV that can handle bright rooms without losing contrast, this model checks most of those boxes. It also makes sense for anyone who wants a TV that looks premium without stepping into the flagship tier dominated by brands that charge a premium for similar specs. On the other hand, if you primarily watch cable TV in a dimly lit bedroom, Or if you're on a tight budget and can settle for a 4K LED panel that doesn't need the extra local dimming zones, you might be better off with a more modestly sized, less expensive option. The value you actually get.